I'll tell you. 1 minute കൂടി ഉണ്ട്. Kamini, you can start recording.
Okay.
We'll start.
Yes.
Namaste. I welcome all of you to this 21st session of the Literary and Cultural Forum of All India Women's Conference, Trivandrum Main Branch. We are very happy to have Rajarajeshwari with us. She is the founder of Niriksha Women's Theatre, and she is no stranger to AIWC because AIWC Trivandrum branch had the good fortune of doing a project with her a few years back. She had trained girls to perform a street play on energy efficiency and energy conservation. And we worked together, and it was really very enjoyable experience working with them. And it was a learning experience also for us. And in addition, she and her co-founder, Sudhi Devayani, they have been our guests at the AIWC hostel in New Delhi because they have very close connections with the National School of Drama, which is on the same road as our central office in New Delhi, Bhagwan Das Road. So she is sort of, I can say that she is part of the extended family of AIWC. So we are happy to have her. Dr. Jamila is still not back from the US. So Dr. Kamini will be moderating this session. And I request Kamini to introduce Rajarajeshwari and take the session forward.
Thank you, Usha. Let me first wish all of you a very good day. We have a very dynamic person today to talk to us under the auspices of the Literary and Cultural Forum, Session 21. As Usha had told, she is a founder of Niriksha Women's Theatre. She is a playwright, director, designer, researcher, and organizer. So she is a very dynamic person and a very much an all-rounder too. We're proud to have you with us, okay? Now, she started her career as a professor in mathematics, but an interest in theatre combined with her feminist identity had been the motive to turn to playwriting and to create strong women characters with their own subjectivity. So she is a playwright in a sense that she plays major plays are including Pravachaka, an original script based on the Greek character Cassandra. It was considered as a mad prophetess that had been included in the syllabus of School of Drama, University of Calicut. Like that, she has written many plays. And also she has scripted more than 20 plays for women's community theatre and theatre workshops for women and students. And radio plays also were included. And she also played the director. She was a director of many plays, having her own original story and script, and which had won the 3rd place in the short story competition held by Sangeeta Natak Academy in 2012. She also is a designer for music for the plays, and she's a researcher too. She has penned many essays on feminism and feminist theatre as well as reviews about theatre and films. She's an organizer too, in a sense that she has functioned as camp director of 12-day playwriting workshop for women organized by Niriksha Women's Theatre. And so she's very much, as I told you, she is such a bold play person, and also she's such a good organizer. So she was the founder of Niriksha Women's Theatre, and it is based in Trivandrum. I'm very happy to welcome you, ma'am, to today's program. It's also my duty to welcome all the persons who are here present here, members of AIWC, Trivandrum branch, and members of other branches in Trivandrum. I also welcome Usha Nair. Also, I welcome the president of Trivandrum chapter, Mrs. Indra Ramachandra. So over to you, ma'am. You can start. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Let me thank AIWC, Trivandrum Literary and Cultural Forum, for inviting me to speak on women and theatre. The topic may sound very broad, you know, especially when I saw your earlier lecture, which were very concise, to the point topics. But women and theatre, it has to be like that. You know, you cannot specialize on this subject because, you know, women and theatre are so really problematic, much more than we really realize. You know, only once you start working in that field, you will understand the problems as well as the prospects of women doing theatre. So that's why I kept it that way, women and theatre. Say, of course, we are all doing theatre in one way or another. Like if you are a professional, you know, when you interact with a group, you just can't be yourself. You can't just be what you are when you are alone or with your family or anything familiar. You have to adopt an attitude befitting your profession, and the audience. So it is somewhat, you can call it a theatre because you are managing your personality and you're making it slightly different from what you are usually are. Though the basic you don't change, unlike in theatre where we adopt characters. No, anyway, but the main thing is that we use our body, we use our sound, our voice, and of course we use our mind in whenever we are engaging in a profession or whenever you are interacting with a group of listeners. Like I do now, I don't talk as I usually do with accompanying, but when I am speaking on a subject, you place your words slightly apart so that you are clear. So that is the way of modulating your voice. That is why I always say we are always doing theatre in one way or another without us realizing it. So that is where this theatre comes in to help women. You know, women traditionally are kept indoors. You know, their space is in a small. And not long ago, it is not changing much also now. So I hope you can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Any problem?
Yes, we can. We can. There is some disturbance.
Okay.
I don't know why.
So, okay. Right now, you know, I'm not at home now. I'm really at a place called Anchithenga. It is in Trivandrum. It's in a coastal area. And I'm here as part of Niriksha team to engage a group of adults and girls to do a theatre workshop. See, theater and women are part of my life. And of course, to come back to what I was speaking, because women's place is usually indoors or in a very closed area or a very small space with mobility restricted, even with voice restricted or demanded to be kept in a particular pitch and volume. So here, how can you use this theater to make women realize or rather express themselves? You know, sometimes not very possible to do it in your immediate neighborhood or in your life. So you can, if you want a space to express yourself, theater is the best place to do that, isn't it? So, of course, we all have acted when we are studying in schools or colleges. We have indeed acted, done some roles, and we were very happy about it because we are able to act and deliver dialogues, which are oh God, not really theater in that sense. You know, sorry, there's a power outage, so I may not be visible. Okay, so okay, to continue, what can theater do to help women express themselves is a question. You know, if you consider the tradition of theater, you can find that women had very little role in doing theater. Even for a long period, they were not allowed on stage. It was after a long period of time that she was allowed on stage to do roles. Even then, when she was allowed back on stage, she carried a stigma. Like any performing artist, women always carry, any women performing artists always had a stigma to their profession, so that really very few women were able to take part in the theater process. Even now, it is not that much has not changed. The stigma still continues in one way or other. But earlier, it was so hard, so that very few women did come on the stage when they were allowed to do so. So just imagine, even though we are all familiar with theater, we are all familiar with characters, we have a very small time actually on stage. You know, if you take it the time in the sense of a history, you will find that women occupied the stage only very recently. So that itself makes it a special thing to talk about women in theater. Okay? Because something which was not allowed, we were able to come back to and take that place. And how did we take that place? Now, when women came on to stage to do plays, to enact characters, enact women characters, they did so by what? Imitating the things done by male actors while doing female roles. You know? So when women were not on stage, men did their roles, and they did it in a particular way. And when women came back on stage, when they were allowed to do so, they performed imitating how men perform women on stage. So the women characters on stage is really very different from what really real women are in real life. That you can see even in films now. Women are depicted in a very funny, actually sort of a funny way, but for us, you know, who are watching. But mainly it is conventional how women should behave. and it follows that however modern that character in films may be, finally it just follows the pattern that was given earlier on stage by male actors. So this is one thing. How come the male actors enacted this women character in a special way? They did so by watching women as men. That is as their companion, sexual companion. So rather than as individual or social entity. So what happened? That sort of interpretation or representation on stage is still carried over to our films. When heroines are designed in that particular way. I'm not forgetting certain good films, realistic films, serious films, not commercial films that did show women in a different manner or as complex as a complex social entity. But most of the time, most of the commercial films follow the pattern that was put in place in the 18th century or so by male actors. Now, what will happen? What should we do to come out of this? Come out of this, this sort of representation of women and to enable her as her real self. Now you may ask, what is it that important? You know, after all, these are entertainment things. We are looking at those things and we are keeping it away from our life. It has nothing to do with our everyday life or how we live. No, it's not true, actually. Some or other, it gets it in your system and you normalize certain behavior as womanly, you know, and then you don't want other people to act accordingly. So you want women to be patient, mild in her voice, accepting many things, just seen, not heard, and all those things. So even when you are speaking also, you control your voice and you don't really take a position of decision making. So these are the things that still continuing in society more because we are used to such representations of women. So cultural representation of women, especially in performing arts, and now I must add films also, is not a small thing. It is not merely entertainment. It has a social impact. And we have to be very careful on how we show women. So we know that it's big business. We know the entertainment industry is a very big business. So we may not be able to produce alternate theater or films that will be on that large scale. So what we do is we give space. We must create space for women to perform. However small the space is, we have to get hold of that space and we must make women perform, express themselves. You know, till now, that's a famous saying by Elizabeth Gottman in her book, Contemporary Feminist Theatre. She has given this quotation that, you know, till years, till now, till recently, women have been making a spectacle of themselves. Now it is time that we create spectacles. So, till now, and apparently even now, women are just pieces to be looked at, even in many of our art, performing art forms. So it is time now that we take control of the visuals. We create our own visuals. And we must be aware of the fact that we must put forward another woman as she is, not the made-up woman by the entertainment industry. So that is why we say it is very important that women come to theater, not just as actors, but as women who can create visuals. So you should be a designer too. You should be a director, you should be a designer. Women, only when women are able to create visuals, they can create it out of their own experience, not the pseudo experience that is imposed on us through the mass media or the entertainment industry or even mainstream theater. So we would want women to be shown in a way that you can say that she is a social entity. She can even be bad or evil character, but she has to be a social entity, not a made up thing, always what you call crying or weeping or taking the man's side or be just what you call a dummy or a companion for the main male character protagonist. So we need to have fleshed out women characters, and that can be done only if women take charge of the visuals that they create. Now that is where the problem comes. Now there are different types. Before I proceed, let me tell you there are different types of theater. You know, that's not just stage performance, which is very huge and need a lot of technical things. There are also theater, intimate theater, which can be done with very little props and even ordinary basic lights that we can use. That I will explain it later. Then there is street. You can go to street. You can go to any outside small space where even you can invite a people audience and then do your piece. So all these are ways of doing theater. So the mainstream staged plays are very expensive. Not only are they expensive, they are very technically very involved, and it needs physical effort, like putting up the lights, hanging up the mics, are all taking physical effort. That's why always you find male members in the technical side. So there are exceptions. There in Japan, you can find a team of women who do take charge of the technical side. They just come in just in uniform and do all the set and light and everything. There are exceptions in the world. I'm not saying that, but generally you find it difficult to do mainstream. What women find it difficult to do mainstream theater is that it is so male in its construct itself. So it is constructed that way, but not so. We can even challenge that. Of course, you can challenge it by different ways. One way is to make sure that you are equipped to do lodge, to sets and live. You can string up, climb the ladders and put on the lights and focus the lights, hang the mic. So that is one way you can do it. We can challenge it, or we can take an alternate way. That is more useful when we want to speak our minds. We want to speak about the issues, that is the social issue that we are confronting. So when we want to put that forward, it is best that we use either intimate theater or theater in the open, not necessarily street. You can take to the street corners, or you can take any small space outdoors and even have an invited audience. So that is possibly the way women can take control of their visuals or how they are depicted. Okay, so it may be intimate theater means you need very little props. That can be done by women. That is why, as part of Niriksha Women's Theatre, we have been going around creating women theatre groups where very little props are used. Costuming is done very colorfully. That is that can be done by women so easily, because naturally you find that women are able to costume makers. Stitching is a part of their womanly profession from a long time ago. So, by bright costumes, headbands, those are the things which will make your group colorful. Then you need a group, a single person or a group. When you go to the open, it is good to have a group of 8 to 10 women colorfully attached, okay, and with small drums or that thing you can play on your hand. Then these are the things we have to make use of in creating visual, where you can say things out loud accompanied by rhythm. So because the voice is a factor. The male voice is much more baritone and it has much more higher volume, and women voices tend to screech when you raise your pitch. So you have to practice on your voice. Even then, it may not be that carry that much volume. So what you do is you can chorus. So that is why for women's theater, chorus is very important, rather than a single person saying what you call kitty dialogue, a pointed dialogue. You can chorus it. Or one person can say the dialogue and the chorus can repeat it, so that the punch is felt. So especially when you are in the open. The intimate theater, single solo performances can be beautifully done with very little lighting. You can have, you can use candles, small table lamps, bulbs that is small bulbs with colored with color paper. Small things, even torch. These are the things you can use for effects. You don't need a large stage lights for intimate theater. Even if you use stage light also, it can be put on stands, because there are only light stands, so that women may be easier to handle those lights than those are strung up in the auditorium. So the intimate theater is a very good place for women to enact their roles, rather than roles, scripted one. They can create their own scripts, their own roles, and then enact for a small audience. And this is, as another added benefit, is that, like we did a festival of women's play during the Corona time, which was done online. So in that online video festival, we found that most of the women who participated have done a solo performance. They had recorded that performance in video and given to us, which we aired in our YouTube channel and Facebook page. Now that WAVE festival showed us something very important, that the intimate, most of the being solo performance were like intimate theater. It was done in a small space. But when we add it, a lot of people say intimate theater at best 50 people or 75 or some 80 people can sit around and view. But when we put it on the YouTube and the Facebook page, we found that even thousands could see that performance. Essentially theater does not yield to filming or the videography. But this case, the solo performance had its flavor there. It could retain its flavor to some extent, so that it had a lot of audience. So it is a possibility for women's theater. We found that it's a possibility. That's why I keep on. Then later on, I kept on saying that let's do solo performance, so that now when we come to this what you call open performance or street performance, we will find that like I said before, colorful costuming and chorusing is very important. But here in this aspect, you can change your mind about the social issues. rather than you do that in intimate theater, you may want to concentrate on some specific aspect of your life, some specific emotions, a specific very intimate emotion like that. But on street, you know, you can just say your mind, chorus it out. So those are the possibility that women have. Very much, a lot of possibilities are there if women take charge of theater in an alternate way rather than what is just being done on a large scale thing. Now you know that even films are taking a big problematic. It's now becoming problematic. All OTT platform is preferred to cinema halls. Cinema halls are complaining they have lesser audience. So you know that large productions these days are not feasible. So we are coming to smaller performances, which are possible to air on which you can broadcast on a smaller, on your mobile screens, which can be viewed on your mobile screen. So that way, theater has now a better prospect now rather than earlier in the late 20th century. You know, the theater lost it down to films. You know, films is taking more, and theater had very few audiences. So what happens now is that films are also taking a downturn, and so theater has another space. It's creating its own space, both in the visual sense and even in the audio sense. And that is an important thing that corona pandemic has thrown up the possibility of audio performances, which are not very simple things. You know, the audio performance can also be very tight, political, and you can speak your mind and very effectively on the thing, on your speak, on the audio level. So that these are the possibilities women should not lose in this thing. So you can cut across age and try to do theater. Try to speak your mind about the issues that worry you, instead of just watching theater or doing a character scripted by somebody else. We can create our own scripts, and we can do our own dialogues and our own performances. You know, performance art was something that was invented by the Black feminists in the late 20th century. So it was a sort of solo performance, but scripted. It did not have any script. It is based on their own experience, their own life experience, and they performed in a very rebellious manner. So using their body, tattooing their body, making colors on their, pouring colors on their body. For them, body is my stage, or my skin is my stage, is what they used to say. So that way, the possibility of performances where you can create by yourself, writing dialogues, directing a play is always there, and I would prefer that women take that challenge. Thank you.
Thank you, Radha Rajeshwari. That was very interesting anyway, talking about women and theatre. I think it's a very new topic for us, including me. And as you rightly said, we are all doing theatre in one way or the other. I agree with you on that, Radha Rajeshwari. Okay, now anybody wants to interact with her?
Rajeshwari, can I
say Rajeshwari? Sorry.
Can you tell us a bit about your work with different groups? Like you have been working with tribal groups, with self-help groups, and many women's groups. So, because that's our work. So can you just explain in brief what you have been doing and how it has been going?
Okay. I didn't go in detail, and I just mentioned that we have created a lot of women's theatre groups. And among them, we have this a group called Rengasri in every district of this state. It's part of Kudumbasri initiative, and we have Kudumbasri women forming themselves into a theatre group. And they do their own theatre, like they create their scripts, they make the costumes and props necessary and do the theatre. That is what we designed it for. I don't know, and as time went by, what they are actually doing now. But earlier, in the earlier stages, they used to do theatre by themselves, write their plays, do the theatre. But usually they do government projects, like taking the government's messages to people via theatre. So these groups are usually sometimes asked to do scripts from outside. So that is the possibility. The problem is there. It's not really an independent women's theatre group, but then they make their living out of theatre, which is very good. As far as we are concerned, it's very encouraging that we were able to do theatre, something that a group of women could do and earn a living out of theatre. Then the another thing that we do, we work with the different communities of the women doing theatre. And the latest thing that we did was tribal community. We went to the Tirunelli in Wayanad, and where we created a group, women's theatre group. They did very good theatre. They had their own songs and their own traditions to offer. And so there is a big possibility where we can use their traditional music, rhythm, and their traditional visuals also. There are lots of things that they do with straw and all the natural elements. All these are there. So we did a 10-day workshop, and it was very successful in the sense that we were able to make a theatre play, and we performed that play, and that group is to function as a theatre group. So it needs more interaction to tap out the entire potential. So we need to do continuously work with tribal groups, with that same group if possible, so that every possible thing that they have comes out to create better visuals, better theatre. And of course, the problems very subtle and very large problems were brought out in that play. Those people talked about their own problems. Usually we have a discussion in the beginning, and based on what they are speaking, we create a play so that they can speak of what are the problems that they are facing and speak out in the open and a bit strongly. So that is our aim, and we were able to do that in May, the last time we did with the tribal groups. Okay. And we also had an opportunity to work with AIWC people also, but it was a very small time. If you have a larger group, we can do a full-scale theatre with the AIWC members also.
You do children, with children also you are working a lot in your center, isn't it?
Okay, I can't hear you properly. It's keep breaking. Especially I'm in a very noisy atmosphere now. I told you I'm in Anjithing now.
You have a children's group, isn't it?
How much?
Children's group.
Children's group. Children's group is we have children's group of our own called Anubhava. Then we go to schools to do this workshops. Nearby school in Palmangod, where our theatre is located, we are regularly doing theatre for that group of students in that school. But we usually go to different school and have workshops. Children's theatre groups as such have not been formed like we did it for women. Children's group are not very sustainable in the sense that once they get to 8th standard, they concentrate on their studies and they can't do theatre like they did before. So it keeps on changing. That group keeps on changing. It's a very mobile group.
Can you hear me now, Rajeshwari? One more question I had.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You mentioned that Kudumbashree women are earning theatre. Can you just elaborate on that? They are earning?
Women are working. So I can't, it's breaking. So that's the problem. Maybe somebody else can. I think something wrong with that.
Kamini, can you repeat that?
Yes, Kamini is much more audible.
Alenda, what is it? Kudumbashree?
She mentioned that Kudumbashree women are earning through this theatre groups.
Yeah.
I wanted her to just elaborate on that, how they are earning through the.
Yeah, Rajeshwari, I would like to ask you, Usha wanted to know this. How is it possible? What is it that the Kudumbashree people are doing? Are they earning any money?
Yes, that's what I said. They are earning money through theatre. In the sense, they are doing government propaganda plays, like taking a message to the people. So those things get paid. They have a remuneration paid for that thing. So many groups get regular such projects and they are earning. They are earning well.
That is very good. And you help them to in theatre?
Yes. It was Niriksha which helped them, gave them training. One 15-day training and then another 10-day training and made them into a full-fledged theatre group.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you supervise them also?
Yes, we were the one. We had a team, Niriksha team, and gave them a 15-day workshop and then another 10-day technical workshop. So they can even do their own property set and everything, costume and music, and do their play.
That's interesting, actually. Very interesting. Anybody has any questions?
Yeah, hi, Renuka here.
Yes, ma'am. I do have a question.
Renuka, can you ask? You are the first to ask. Then after that, you, okay?
Yeah, it's not a question. It's just, I'm stunned.
Yes,
amazing,
definitely, ma'am.
Amazing,
Yeah.
amazing how much you do and sad how little we know, how little I know. It's
We don't know much. Actually, we don't know much about theatre and what role it can play.
Hats off to you. Hats
Yeah.
off to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Renuka. What about you? Archana?
Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Rajeshwari, ma'am. Good evening to everyone
Okay.
present here. I'm Archana. So first of all, thank you, Rajeshwari, ma'am, for such a beautiful session. It was really an eye-opener for me. And today I watched your play, Swapnangal Illatha Naadu. So, ma'am, what I wanted to ask you is, what made you take that thing? Was it any life incident that really touched you, or how you came up with that theme?
That's a nice question because it is a very interesting, it had a very interesting
Yes, ma'am.
background. Like I said, I did mention that we talk with the group of women first. We just have a discussion with them and they can speak about their, whatever they want to tell us. That's an open discussion space. And then suddenly I asked them, I or Sudhi, I don't remember now, somebody asked them from our side, we asked, don't you have any dreams? And they said, no. They said, no. So that just struck us like that, Do you have dreams? No. So that is why we created that story, that play. Swapnangalila, what will happen if there are no dreams? If there are no dreams, no girl will be born. That is my premise. So that land had no girl child. There was a huge shortage of girls. So when a girl was born, they had a big celebration like that. So it became
That's what.
that's because that land did not know how to dream. So so they are in all sort of problems. And then one tribal lady, she comes and tells them, it is she who reveals that you won't have a girl child because you don't know to dream. So dreams are dreams. And then she talks about how you can coexist, learn to coexist and all that. So that's how the play goes. In between, we had some comic thing, depending on this, what happened during those time. Somebody was saying, all these what anti-women statements that comes from the public figures, all those were added into the dialogue to make it more entertaining. But the premise
was really entertaining.
Yeah. It was for the women, this Kudumbasri. It was for the Kollam Jilla that we did. Kollam and Pathanamthitta Jilla. We had this play.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Once again, it was a really wonderful session, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Archana.
Thanks.
Kamini, can I say something?
Who's that?
Bhuvneshwari.
Sure, Bhuvneshwari, please.
No, actually, because of my internet problem, I had not heard the full thing, I could not, but I'll see the recording. But in fact, I wanted to ask you about this during this COVID period and also the OTT platform and all. It has affected theater like anything, isn't it? So how is it going to? How are you going to overcome this? What do you do for that?
Theater has always been in crisis, with films taking over the audience with them, because it was much more large scale and more people can view the product rather than theater, which is live and has to be seen by going to the theater and watching and cannot be repeated in another way without any that easily like films. So the films overtook theater long way back. Now, what I'm saying is the crisis has hit the theater also with the OTT platform, and so there is space for women theater to come back a little bit, and there women can use that because it is much more interesting. It is better. I would always say that women do theater rather than films. Let them do theater. Only theater can bring out you in you, not films. The films.
Yeah, there's a lot of difference in seeing a film and of course theater. The live performance. It's really very.
Yes.
We used to have a lot of performances in Mandio's area in Delhi. We very regularly going. And
Yes.
of course, the OTT has hit the films. I mean, I'm talking from my own experience. Nobody goes to theater these days, and those who are, in the
OTT platform can be used by theater also. That's what I was saying. So that we are now on a level ground.
Yeah, that was interesting. Anyway.
And you had a drama festival on Facebook, isn't it?
Drama festival?
On Facebook?
Yes. Wave Festival was held. It was an online festival, video festival. It was published on our Facebook group page, and then also on YouTube channel. So
are they available for viewing now on the YouTube channel?
It is available. It's there. Wave Festival, if you search that, you will find all the 8 performances are there.
And were they all solo performances?
Oh, they were all solo. Only the last one had a child also. It was basically a solo performance. Everyone were doing solo performances.
Do you have a regular band of performers in the theater?
Yes, we do have a team.
And
We do have a team of actors, artists, and even technicians who do set and light and music is usually, I am doing it now, but the set and light, we have other technicians doing it for us. Direction is done by Suthi. Actors, we have Malu, Zubaida, and lots of people, other Surya, and lots of people.
are they all paid employees of your theater?
Yes, paid. They are paid.
They are paid employees.
Yes.
Yeah, I must also mention that Devyani is the only woman director to be honored as best director by the
Yes.
Sangeeta
Yes,
Nayaka
yes.
Academy. It was, I think, in 2018. We would have loved to have her also here, but somehow I couldn't get across.
Yes, I will. I will tell her.
Because she is
Pass on that.
director of all the plays of Very
Do you have only women actors, Rajeshwari?
No. We have male actors also doing the male roles. Yes.
Very interesting.
Ushaji, I would like to have her contact details and all that. So
I-
that, yeah, because I would like to send it to my son, so he can be.
Oh, yeah, your son. Mhm.
Also, we can think of ways in which AWC we can work with her, because the
Yeah.
project that we did, very short project, that was the project that we got from Energy Management Center. The Trivandrum branch got it from Energy Management Center, and that was for performing street plays on energy efficiency and energy conservation. Rajesh herself had prepared the script. She trained a group of girls, but with the first group of girls, we had a problem because they were all students of our various training programs, and they were very enthusiastic. They came forward, they got trained, but when it came to actually having the performance, their family allowed them to come. They will not, they said, no, whatever you are doing in AWC, that is okay, but you cannot go out and perform. So actually we had to drop that one group of girls, and then she was very gracefully, they agreed to come to the university, Kerala University, and we trained a set of students there. Then went and performed the play in various places in Trivandrum district. But we could not take it forward because though we were doing the students were doing it for free, but then there was the cost of transport and food and all, everything involved. They had to be taken from Trivandrum to different parts of the district. So we could not sustain it. But I'm sure that we can think of some way of using theater in our work in AWC.
Yes,
And,
exactly.
said that Kudumbashree is spreading the government messages in various places through theater. So similarly, like instead of having a simple awareness program, maybe we could train students or students on various themes and set them out to perform. Because one day, despite the message themselves, they will understand it much better. And they will be able to spread it also across the different groups and communities.
Usha, Rama Anantram from Hyderabad.
Ah,
It's,
Rama. Yeah,
how are
please
you?
go on. Yeah.
However, this is a brilliant thing. Actually, 50 years ago, the programs like this called Kala Jatras were used to promote sanitary napkins and promote family planning. And today it has taken off. So you take a theme on behalf of AWC, and then like how we've got youth teams everywhere, and then whatever is the latest issue that we can need to spread, if she can give us a skit and then a play thing, you can help us, and then we can get it done all over the country.
Excuse me, can I change over to my phone? Okay, so I'll just leave the meeting now and then come back. Okay, because I have to go now. The people are waiting. Okay, 1 minute, 1 second.
No, Rama, your suggestion is very good, but as
Very good suggestion.
funding. From where do we get the funds? We cannot maintain a theater group or train groups of children without money, and to go out and perform again, we need funds. So we have to work out, maybe we can approach some corporates under their CSR, whether they can fund such an initiative. Because if we have a permanent group, of course, all voluntary workers, I mean, it is easy to spread the message instead of our simple awareness programs that we have been having all the time. This will be much more effective. So maybe we can all.
If I can say something, Usha, when I was working as a zonal, I have seen the Shanti Socrates group in Chennai, the Kakinada group, Bhanuseshus, Bhanumati. So we've got very active groups. One more in Samalakota, Padmalata. So these are all people who are dealing with, in Hyderabad also, we have colleges. So where if you give us a skit and then the thing, we can train, and then the college people itself, they'll have their, they have something called NSS funds at the national level, which is being given to every college. Under that, they need to do some projects. So if we can suggest this and take, you have to find a topic which is burning and which is useful for the community and the women and the children or youth or whatever. And if you can decide on that, then we can form, you can have a showcase teams in Kakinada and in Chennai and Bangalore, I don't know, wherever you have one in. And then if the showcase teams work well from the colleges that they're doing, you can emulate it in the rest of the place, rest of the country.
Yeah, we worked with college students in that project I mentioned. But
Yes.
there again, the problem is, as Rajeshwari just mentioned, the students are never a sustainable group because they keep moving. For 2 years, they are in the college and they pass out, and then you have to look for another group. So that is, of course, we can think of ways of overcoming it. But then Rama, you can send the suggestion to our central office, and maybe they can design a project around this so that some bare funding can be made available. I think Kuljit was here, Secretary General. I cannot see her now.
I mean, the country has reached a level where we have, I mean, we're beyond the welfare projects. We have to get into developmental. And this gets under a developmental activity, which helps.
So you can send a suggestion to central
Will do, ma'am.
and then you form a project so that all of us can take it up after somebody like Kakinada or Shanti Socrates branch can do a pilot, and then we can all take it up.
Yes, ma'am. I'll have a word with them and I'll come back to you on that. Thank you for so many innovative programs, Usha. You're really good. God bless you and your team.
Thank you.
Yes, it is. Theater is really now becoming so relevant now. So many groups are asking us also to do and form theater groups. So even in campuses also. So campus theater can be sustained by rolling over, like the new students will enter that while the seniors are there. And once the seniors leave, these first year students can take their place. So
it has to be an ongoing process. It is to be a continuous process.
Yes.
That's how we did Kala Jatras all over the country, ma'am.
Yeah, it's a good idea in colleges, through NSS or something like that.
Yes, you can do that. You can always do that. So campus theater always work that way. You cannot have a group like that always, but there will be a group through rotations.
Yeah.
And if you can have a women's theater group in campuses, it would be very good. This is actually my dream. We are trying to do it.
So Kamini, maybe you can, we can talk to Women's College. Kamini retired as principal of Women's College in Trivandrum. And before that,
we talked to the principal and the NSS program officer also. Yeah.
Yes.
So we can discuss with them and see if we can do something there.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll try that.
Yes, it's always there now. Now the youth, especially the young women, they are facing a lot of violence in the name of love affairs. So these have to be, addressed. This can be addressed through theater, especially in a mixed college. But let's start with women's college. At least the women should be made aware. You know, there are a lot of young people.
Adolescent girls, young girls should be made aware. Yeah.
Yes, they are led by the visuals that they see in what you call the social media.
Ma'am, we've done a survey with the youth of a college, a few colleges, and then the perils of the social media is the burning problem for the youth now, ma'am. It's like a knife in the kitchen. You can use it to cut vegetables. You can use it to cut yourself. So how the social media, the negatives of social media, you should make a small skit and tell them, and how they should use the social media for their developmental and benefit, and not get into issues with that, and how to avoid the issues of social media and retain health, ma'am. Eye issue is one more thing going on with the social media, eye problem because of the cell, even for all of us.
Yes. Especially in the corona, you had online classes, and there are lots of health problems also associated.
So this, the positives and the negatives of the social media on the youth, and then the impact on the youth, and how the youth must train themselves not to become victims of it in the future, because they have to live with the social media. Whereas we have entered social media in our probably in the evening of our life. So we have at least got some health, and then they're all going to be victims. So some such thing you should take up, ma'am. And then if you can just give us a project with the outline, we'll do a showcase project in Tamil Nadu and Andhra and come back to you with the something on that. We can work with Mrs. Usha and come back to us. You can guide us, ma'am. Thank you.
If such a thing is done, other branches also can, if you see that it is viable. And in this sort of skits, there will be only 2 or 3 persons. It doesn't need a huge persons, a lot of crew and persons won't be. So it will be affordable for branches also. If such a, if a budget is given that, stay and they can travel, within a month or 2 like that, interested branches can call them over. And, that way we can, this is really required, these sort of things. And really required in schools, we can do it, schools, colleges.
October, we did a workshop here, and the theme was similar. We took on many themes. In one of them was, the main one was social media issues.
That is very good. Very good.
Yeah, that is very relevant also.
It's actually a very good
that you made, which I found very interesting, is you mentioned that the way the characters behave on screen, whether it is in film or in theater, we all tend to copy the behavior, and that actually I have seen that children who are watching a lot of these cartoon movies, very small, nowadays you see that very small children are watching cartoon movies, and then when they start talking, that is, right when they start talking, you can see that they are talking like the characters of the cartoon movies, in that sing-song way. Stress thing. So first time I heard it from a neighbor's child, I was thinking, why is this child talking like this? I talked to a speech therapist, and she was telling me that they are getting a lot of cases nowadays in hospitals of children who are speaking like the characters in the cartoon pictures or other things that they get to watch, And these speech therapists are working on them to bring them back to the normal way of speaking.
This is a serious thing,
That's a very serious thing.
Very
and
true.
They grow up, how it will impact them, because very few people have access to speech therapists and others. The children who are not getting such help may end up having serious problems as they grow up. But watch and see around you, you will see many children who talk like cartoon characters.
Yeah, correct. The accent also, the
accent and the
action. And the action also. There was a serial, I think in Hindi, Shaktiman, I think.
Yes.
Where I think the hero, he jumps from the top floor or something. So the boy also jumped down and he died, I think. Tried to imitate the hero, he thought he was a Spider-Man or Batman or whatever, I don't know. So
we keep listening to these news news, how it is. The visual, I mean, the unreal aspect of this visuals,
Yes, yes.
young are not grasp. These are not real things. So they try to imitate it. So that's a very dangerous thing. So you need educate. You need to educate the children about the social media and the visuals that it generates.
Yes.
That's very important. So,
Usha, is
I think
Rajeshwari coming? No, is she coming back or shall we wind up or what?
She's there. She's there. She's talking, no?
She's there. Very good.
Yeah, Raji Nidhi.
Yeah. Because I didn't see her, no, that's why I'm telling.
you can't see me.
Ma'am, living in the reality and anger management is one more thing, ma'am. Because all of them are in a virtual world and they're not knowing to deal with people. So that is one more topic you should cover, anger management for youngsters.
Yes, of course. Because, you find that punching and hitting, even in cartoon are pretty violent in that aspect, and banging. Even the Tom and Jerry, that we used to see in the comic. Now, when you see them moving in the visual, there are a lot of children who think that you can bang on their head with something like a hammer and all that. So these are dangerous things, Earlier, it was just cartoon. I don't know. It never really bothered us. But now the visuals, animated ones, seem to create an unreal world for the children. So even cartoons and any films, commercial films, you see hitting and punching and all that. So that is something is imitated by especially the boys. So those are violent things. So when you get angry, you hit. Those things have to be addressed, really.
Yes.
How to manage, how to manage what you see should be something we should teach the children at a very young age itself.
Because for children, I see that violence is normalized. They feel that violence is a normal thing, that hitting somebody and fighting, and these are the normal things. They don't see it as anything that is different.
The things
that we can take up. There are many issues which we can take up, and let us try to do one calmly. Let us make an effort with the college or with some nearby schools, and if we can do something, it will be great.
Ma'am, actually, I see Indrani Sen Group, Calcutta. She's also good on dramatics. One of our shows during our program, she did something. We have very good teams in Calcutta also. I'm sure they can also take up. Usha ma'am, talk to her. She's there, Indrani. Indrani, are you there?
No,
in Maharashtra, we have groups, they are very active theatre people, the Maharashtrian.
The Bengalis.
No, even in Maharashtra.
Correct.
Very active. So maybe we can involve the branches from those states also and see what.
Correct, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else, Usha?
No, I think we can wind up now.
Yeah. I would like to thank our main speaker who has really let the ball rolling, Rajeshwari. It was a very interesting topic. I should thank her for being here. In spite of her busy schedule, she has made it a point to come and deliver a lecture for 1 hour at least. I'd like to thank all the members of AIWC. I just saw the name only now. Our Secretary General was here. I didn't see that. I saw her name later. I would like to thank Mrs. Kuljit ji for taking her time off to be with us. Was Sheila Kakade here, Usha?
No, today is their Ganpati Puja, so she had sent a report saying that she.
I would like to thank all the members of all the AIWC branches for being here with us today. So thank you once again.
And Rajeshwari, we continue having this series of talks every month on the first Saturday. And I'll definitely send you the link to these talks. I hope you will join for some of them at least. We'll be happy to have you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you
so much. Thank you.
And I also thank all of you for joining. And as I have given in the link also, now we'll be having this literary forum talks on the first Saturday of every month at 4:30. So, and we also plan to form a group of people who are interested in attending these lectures so that it is easier to communicate with them and get their feedback also, so that we'll be sending out. If any of you are interested in joining the group, you can contact either me, Kamini, or Dr. Jamila. You can just send a message and we'll include you in the group. And of course, the branches, we all have, we have groups of Kerala branches, Karnataka branches. So it is mostly for non-AWC people who are joining our talks very frequently. We would like to form a group and keep it easy for communication. So I think with this, we'll wind up. Once again, thank you, Rajeshwari, for joining and giving such an interesting talk. Thank you, Kamini, for moderating the session, and Bhuvaneshwari for helping out with the recording and being the co-host. Thank you, all of you, for your inputs and for your active participation. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Usha. Thank you, everyone. Usha ma'am.
Yes.
So, Usha ma'am, I'm interested to attend all these sessions. So, should I be included in the group, or all this link? Will
You are
appear
already
in
there
this?
in the branch group, aren't you?
Yes, ma'am.
You will
So that's
automatically
enough,
get
right?
all the communication. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Ushaji, I want the details of Rajeshwari.
I'll send you.
And this recording also I would like to have, because I want to send it to Ajay because he's having it sometime in.
Yeah, I'll send you the YouTube link.
YouTube.
Renuka, would you like to be present on for all the meetings? She's gone, I think. Renuka?
Yeah, tell me.
Would you like to attend our sessions?
Yeah, won't mind. When do you have these sessions? I'm not so sure about.
I will contact you on that then. I have your number, so I will send an email. I'll send you a WhatsApp message, okay?
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
If you're interested, you can join.
Yeah.
Thank you.